We're just going to talk about like very like brief steps to apply to a graduate school in the United States. But before, I just wanted to let you know that Hood College, we are here to support you in anything. We are a small institution located very close to Washington, D.C., the capital. And we have programs from undergraduate, graduate with master's, and doctoral degrees. So I'm going to talk about in general tips for applying to a graduate school in the United States. So the very first thing that you need to do is just research and visit the university or the college where you want to attend. This is very important because you may want to go to a big city. You may want to go and like live in New York or Brooklyn, or maybe you prefer just like to go to a small institution where like you feel more familiar and like there's more accessibility for things. Just the second thing is your course by course evaluation, and we'll talk about this later. But not all of the institutions require this. So please make sure that you have a knowledge of which institutions may require this translation of your document. Ask for your professional letters of recommendation. This is a very, very important step because some of the institutions may require letters of recommendation and all of them might be different. Some of them may require one, two, or three. Make sure you meet the minimum requirements for the standardized test scores. There are so many different test scores that some institutions require, like the GRE or like the TOEFL or IELTS for the English test. So please be aware of all those details. As a fifth step, write your statement of purpose, and we're gonna talk about that later. But this is very important because remember, we cannot copy this document. Most of the institutions share a platform where we can see whether did have any kind of plagiarism in your document. We can see also whether you send this document to another institution. So please be aware that you write this document with your own words. Put together an application timeline. This is very important. You don't want to miss the date of your application. And consider your finance. That's the important, one of the most important states as well. So research and visit the universities. Most of the universities nowadays, they have different virtual tours, and it is very important to see how the university looks, where it is located. You want to see whether it's a big school, it's a small school. Does the campus look kind of like a new and modern school, and that's the style that you like, or you would like to prefer like to go like to a more small institution? Let me share my screen right now, and we're going to see this is just an example of good colleges to work.
Welcome to the newly renovated Tatum Art Center, which is home to the Hudson Art Gallery, the Departments of Art and Archaeology, Global Languages and Cultures, Psychology, Education, and Law and Criminal Justice. New additions to the building include a moot courtroom and state-of-the-art classrooms. Located on the bottom floor, the Avalon Theater, which is also known as the Black Box, was recently revamped and hosts a lot of Hood College's theater productions.
Here we are at the Hudson Science and Technology Center, which houses the departments of biology,
as well as the departments of chemistry, mathematics, nursing, and computer science and information technology. Recent renovations here have added additional state-of-the-art equipment and expanded space for the nursing and coastal and watershed study programs.
We're here in front of Rosenstock Hall, which houses the departments of economics, English, political science, history, business administration, and communication arts. In addition to numerous classrooms, Rosenstock Hall houses the Hudson Auditorium and the Center for Academic Achievement
And again, this is just an example. As you can see, we have a tour with the student right here, and we're just going through like different buildings in our campus. You really want to do that for each single institution that you go. Remember, nowadays with COVID, unfortunately, most of the institutions have this option. So you may want to see where you're going to study. Is it going to be nearby your relatives, your family who live close to that place? Do you want to be close to the beach? Do you want to be close to the mountains? So those are things very important to consider. Your course by course evaluation. Now remember, not all of the institutions require this, but this is very important. This is basically your transcripts translated by a licensed institution in the US And they have so many different institutions. Like for example, NACES is the big one. And this one right here has different branches. It has about 30 branches. And one of the most popular, for example, is WES. The other one is ECE, IEE. What these organizations are going to do, they're going to translate your final transcript. They're going to convert your final GPA to the 4.0 US standard GPA, and they're also going to certify that your document is official. It means that it comes directly from your institution to your college or to any university. You may want to talk to your university before you do this step, because some of them may do this process on campus. Some of them may translate your documents right there, or some of them may just have you translate your documents directly in Spain. However, most of the institutions require a NACES course by course evaluation. Letters of recommendation. Now remember, if you're going to ask a letter of recommendation, it has to be a professional letter of recommendation. It cannot come from your neighbor, it cannot come from your cousin. It has to be someone who has worked professionally with you. It can be a teacher, it can be the director from your job, it can be the manager, it can be someone who knows you and who knows everything that you have achieved in the past. Make sure you meet the minimum requirements for the standardized test scores. For applying to the graduate school, we have the GRE and the GMAT. These are very important tests, and you may want to ask the university which test you need to send out and what's the minimum score, so you meet at least the minimum score. For the English test, most of the universities now accept Duolingo, which is probably a most affordable and faster test. But if you prefer or you have already, you can take the TOEFL and IELTS as well. In our case, these are the minimum required scores. In case you don't get these scores, is fine, because you can still apply and you will have to take some additional English classes. But remember, all the universities are different. All of them may require a different score. And in our case, Hood College does not require GRE or GMAT. Most of the graduate institutions are now avoiding these tests just because we are basing our requirements in different ways. However, you may have to talk to your university and make sure you meet the requirement for all the tests. Your statement of purpose, and I'm so delighted that Mrs. Ray is going to talk about this later, but this is basically the document where you're going to talk about yourself. You're going to talk about like all the amazing things you have achieved in the past in your professional path. And you're also going to tell them what you want to accomplish later. You're also going to tell the institution, after I graduate with this degree, I want to go here. I want to work there. I want to create my own business, or I want to work for this institution, for this company. So here you have to talk with your inner words, with your heart. You cannot copy this document, because remember, we have a platform that we can detect every single word that has been copied. And if we find, or like the program just detects any kind of copy, it will probably not be considered for admission. So please be aware of those little details. Put together an application timeline. This is very important because you don't want to miss the due date or the deadline to submit your application. Most of the universities are going to have the spring semester, and the spring semester deadline probably was a couple months ago, but for the fall, it's going to be probably December. So you may want to just talk to the university and make sure you have all your documentation or your portfolio ready before the deadline. Now, there might be different deadlines. There might be one for only admissions, and there might be another one only for scholarships. So make sure you have it in your phone, on your calendar. These dates are not exactly before when you have to send out all your portfolio. Consider finances. And this is a very, very important topic, because in the US, there are so many different opportunities to study here. For example, you can apply to a scholarship, But if for some reason you don't have the chance to get a scholarship because they are very limited, you can also apply to work on campus. You can also work with a graduate assistant. In our case, we understand that international students do not work outside of campus. That's why we provide them with different jobs so they can have the opportunity to work here, pay for their tuition, to probably give them a salary. Every single job is different, so every single payment or salary is going to be totally different. But make sure you know about this before applying, or even when like you're already admitted to the school, because there may be so many different opportunities. Remember, not not focus only on scholarships, focus on all of the other factors that might be helping you complete your education. So now we discovered the tips to apply for the graduate school.